Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stacey West Preview Show. I'm Jake Tong. I'm very fortunate to be joined by Matt Salmons, a Northampton vlogger and YouTuber. Hello Matt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Well, I spoke to you a little bit off air about Lincoln and how it's been a pretty bad couple of days. We're not here to talk about Lincoln. We're here to talk about Northampton. So let's just talk about their start of the season. Obviously, they're not flying as high as Lincoln are. But how have you felt the season's gone so far?
Consistently inconsistent is the way I'd put it. Very up and down. I think our first sort of 10 games were really tough. We played a lot of promotion candidates, played Hull, Charlton, Portsmouth, the other team that begin with P that we don't like and aren't going to mention.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so we had a lot of tough games to start off the season. So aren't as high up in the table as we probably should be. November was a big month. We had games against teams that were closer to us and around us in the table. We picked up quite a few points then, but now we seem to be back on this sort of downward curve again. Can't seem to find a win from anywhere. We lost to Crewe at the weekend. Oxford battered us last night. So consistently inconsistent so far. But like we say, most Cobblers fans like me will just want to stay in League One.
Yeah.
And as long as we finish 20th, if it's by a goal, by a point, whatever, then I think we'll be happy.
And just to sort of talk about last season, how Northampton went on a really good run towards the back end of the season, probably due to a certain player that's now wearing Lincoln colours. But, how was last season for you getting to that final and winning it, in such emphatic style as well?
Well, it was really good. It was really unexpected. We kind of, as fans, sort of agree that we probably wouldn't have got in the playoffs if the season had finished out. Just before the season finished, we were on a pretty bad run of form. I think we threw away a 2-goal lead to Walsall, just stuff like that. So I think we were very lucky to get in the playoffs. And I think the playoffs in general were just who wanted it the most out of the 4 teams. I don't think it was to do with the quality or anything like that, because I think Exeter were a far better team than we are, or we were on paper last year. But I think we wanted it more, and I think that's how we got up into League One. So we're glad to be back. And we were delighted with the way the playoffs went. And like I said, we just wanted it more than anybody else, and that's why we got our place in League One.
And how have you found the step up? Obviously, a lot of people say that the step to League One, from League Two, isn't massive. But I thought when we first came into League One, it was quite a big step up, because you're going from playing your Mansfields, your Grimsby's, to your Sunderlands and your Pompeys, who are the clubs that arguably should be in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, it is a big step. I feel like in League Two, it's definitely a league where anyone can beat anyone. Obviously, that's the same in League One, but I feel like that's more in League Two. All the clubs are sort of a similar size. You don't have any big clubs that are up here and smaller clubs that are down here, apart from maybe your Boltons this year and Bradford and whatever. But apart from that, I think most of the clubs are a similar size. Whereas League One, you've sort of got the top 10, and then everybody else is sort of just left behind, I guess. Well, not left behind, but it's kind of just, they're the sort of anyone can beat anyone. So it's tough. I think the attacking players are the difference in League One. I think they're a lot quicker, a lot sharper, a lot more technically gifted. In League Two, I think half the teams will have that one sort of star player that can cut you open and whatever. But in League One, I think everybody has that in some way, shape or form. So I think the attackers are a lot better. I don't think the defenders are too much different in terms of their quality and whatever. But I think the attackers are so much better and a lot more quicker and have a bit more of a better footballing brain, if you like.
You spoke a bit earlier about the result on last night against Oxford, 4-0. What went wrong? Because obviously Oxford haven't been great this season either.
Well, I listened to it on the radio. I couldn't watch it, but we had 10 players out that couldn't make the team due to suspension, injury, whatever. And we had Max Deitch, who's a 17-year-old. He made his first ever senior career start. He was just thrown in at the deep end a little bit. But it seems at the minute that we seem to just sit back quite a lot. We went 1-0 up against Crewe in 3 minutes on Saturday and sat back and threw that away and lost 2-1 in the 90th minute. I think the same kind of happened against Oxford. we just sat back on a 0-0. We didn't seem to go for it. We didn't seem to have any sort of passion, desire, or fight. And I watched the goals back, and we were just looked really lazy,
Yeah,
which was kind of the problem that we were having at the start of the season when we were playing bigger teams like Charlton, like Hull, like Portsmouth. And you can sort of forgive that a bit more against the bigger sides because you know that you're probably going to get beat by them anyway. But against a team that's in and around you, it is quite worrying. And we've sort of gone this season. We think there's 4 worse teams than us that will go down. That's sort of our sort of comfort thing. But now it's sort of, are there actually 4 teams worse than us? So yeah, a bit worried, especially losing 4-0. If we'd have lost 1-0, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad, but 4-0 was just awful. And I think they scored about 2 of their goals in the space of 3 minutes or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, it wasn't good last night. And I think we were just lazy, lacked passion. I think we played a new formation again for about the 7th time this season, which also didn't help things.
Obviously, I don't think you can be too hard on yourself because Oxford were, playoff finalists last season. That's probably just making a worse start than what they're anticipating. But the 2 clubs had a bit of a close link this summer. Obviously, Key and Bolger making the move from Lincoln to Northampton, and then probably, I mean, this would probably come from your point of view, but Callum Morton, obviously one of Northampton's probably better players last season. I mean, forgive me, put me in the place if I'm wrong. There was a lot of speculation whether he would return to Northampton, but obviously West Brom chose to send him to Lincoln. What were your thoughts, sort of, A, on the Key and Bolger move, and so were you happy with that signing and how he's settled in? And then B, what were your sort of reactions to when Callum Morton was unveiled as a City player rather than a Northampton player?
Yeah, well, the Key and Bolger one, I never really knew that he went to Lincoln. I always thought he was a Fleetwood player because I know he was there for quite a while. And then when I saw that we signed him from Lincoln, I was like, oh, didn't know he was there.
A lot of Lincoln fans probably would have preferred he stayed at Fleetwood, to be honest.
Yeah. So I knew from at Fleetwood he was a really good sort of experienced centre half. He scored against us for Fleetwood a couple of times last time we were in League One. So we kind of knew what he was about, knew he was an experienced leader at the back. I'll be honest, I didn't know that he wasn't great for Lincoln, but he hasn't been good for us, really. We had Charlie Good, as probably most of you will know, last season, who was, a big rock at the back, commanded everything, shouting at everyone, and was a completely different leader to what Kean Bolger is. With Bolger, he's our captain this year, and we don't really seem to get that vocal quality from him. I don't really see him as much of a leader on the pitch, and at the back he makes some strange decisions, and he's got the likes of Fraser Horsfall next to him, who's just as bad. So, yeah. I was quite happy to sign him, I'll be honest, but I'm not so happy anymore. And then Callum Morton, I'm not even sure I want to talk about him. He saved our season last season. And then, when he saw him in the red and white of Lincoln, we were a bit like, oh, great. That's just sort of our typical luck. We kind of were expecting him not to come back, but then there was rumours that he was going to come back, and there was like really high rumours that he was close to coming back, and it was sort of Lincoln or Northampton. And we thought, well, he's been to Northampton, he knows about us, he knows the manager, surely he's going to come back to us. But I guess Lincoln's probably play style probably suits him better. I guess you guys probably, I don't know, you tell me, you pass it around a bit more than we do. We just sort of just go like that over the top. So I guess that probably suits him a bit more than our sort of direct style.
I think the fact that Appleton's obviously has quite close connections to West Brom, probably, it happened with Alex Palmer as well. Obviously, he was standout for Plymouth last year, and he ended up coming back. But obviously, fortunately, Morton for you, like he's injured until February, so he's barely had a kick in for Lincoln. Which you might take some sort of you might be happy about that. I don't know. I just sort of want to get your quick thoughts on Lincoln this year. Obviously, we weren't a team that were bad in the bookies' favourites for promotion, but 4th in the league as we record this right now, with a game in hand that could take us top of the league. What are your thoughts on Lincoln's starts?
Well, yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't really know they were 4th in the league, which is, I wouldn't say surprising, but it's nice to see that one of maybe the smaller clubs obviously have come up through the non-league system as well recently. So it's nice to see one of the not the favourites to be up there, if that kind of makes sense. Again, I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about your squad or anything like that, but I know that Lincoln under the Cowley brothers had a good reputation for playing the right way, if you like. So yeah, it's nice to see them up there. You mentioned your manager, Michael Appleton. We're not actually the biggest fans of him either. He was the former Oxford manager, and we won the title of League Two back in 2016. And he said that Oxford were the best team in League Two and that they deserved to go up, even though they came third, which kind of annoyed us quite a bit. And we sort of take the mick out of him. So yeah, nice to see Lincoln up there, but not so sure about their manager.
Let's talk about tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Saturday. Then I think I'm behind myself. How do you think Northampton are going to line up tactically, and then personnel as well?
Well, I hope it's a more attacking style that we go for this time, because we've sat back in our last two games on things that on points that we should have gained rather than we've lost. So yeah, I think it'll be the same kind of direct style. Keith Curl has said that he wants to change the way we play into again the right way. But our pitch is terrible at the minute. We seem to, for some reason, be training on it every day, which isn't helping it. Even though there's a perfectly good, they sort of use one of the colleges. There's a perfectly good facilities there, but for some reason we're just on the pitch all the time. So that won't help if we want to do change our style. In terms of personnel, I think he's probably going to drop Arnold again. He's been switching the goalkeepers all season, Steve Arnold and Jonathan Mitchell, and every time one of them makes an error, he seems to swap one in for the other. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mitchell in goal. At the back, your old friend Kean Bolger should be there, alongside Horsfall. We may play a back three, or we've tried a back four in recent times. It hasn't really worked. We've played Hoskins, who's played pretty much everywhere now for us apart from in goal. Left back, right back, centre half, centre mid. He's played everywhere for us. I would class Hoskins as a natural winger. So I wouldn't be surprised to see three centre backs of Horsfall, Harriman and Bolger, and then sort of Hoskins at wing back with probably Nicky Adams, somebody like that. And then Ricky Holmes in sort of that attacking midfield role. You guys will probably know has got the quality to cut teams open. And then up front is another unpredictable one. We've got no idea who's going to start up front every week, whether it's going to be Harry Smith, Rose. We've got Caleb Chukwuemeka, who's a sort of a young, big centre forward. So yeah, it's always unpredictable with Keith Curl, but I think I'd like to see him go back to his normal 3-5-2, but whether or not he'll have the personnel available to actually do that is yet to see. But I would go for 3-5-2 with a kind of direct style against Lincoln.
Do you think Northampton are going to be able to smell blood on Lincoln this, on Saturday, given the fact that we've lost two on the bounce and, confidence might be low within our group?
Yeah, possibly. I think confidence will be even lower in ours, to be honest, considering the way that we've lost our last two games as well. But hopefully, if we're not put into tier 3, we'll have fans there. We'll have 2,000 this time behind us. So hopefully they can make a good noise and kind of rally the players on and get behind the team. So I think if we have fans there, that will definitely make a difference. It didn't against Doncaster, but I think it will against Lincoln with 2,000 there. I don't want us to try and sound rude or anything, but it seemed like the 1,000 fans that were there were maybe the slightly older generation of fans. Yeah. So hopefully the 2,000 there will be the kind of the younger ones that want to sing for 90 minutes and whatever. Obviously they can't sort of congregate, but I think a bit more of an atmosphere will be generated with 2,000 there, and that might put Lincoln off a little bit. So I think the fans will make a difference. I think the Cobblers will be wanting to bounce back, and Keith Curl, I think, is under pressure from the fans over his job as well. Yeah. So I think we'll be going for it on Saturday afternoon, definitely.
Do you think that the fact, you said that Northampton have been training on the pitch, do you think that that's sort of, especially with the way that you play direct and Lincoln like to, keep it on the floor, pass it about on a bobbly pitch, that probably isn't going to work. So do you think that's going to fall into your favour maybe?
I hope so. But it was just as bad when we played our last game against Doncaster, and they went 1-0 up and just passed it, kept the ball for the rest of the game, and we didn't really impose anything on them. So I think if Lincoln go 1-0 up, they'll be all right. They'll just be able to keep the ball. We won't be able to do much against that. I think when we go 1-0 up, we stand more of a chance. I think if we go 1-0 down, the confidence is that low. We're sort of like, oh, well, that's that sorted. So it could work in our favour, but the direct style isn't working at the minute. So whether or not it will work in our favour, we don't know. So, yeah.
And then just quickly, if I could sort of ask for a score prediction from your end, just to see where your head's at about the game.
Well, I've got no idea. I probably would have gone for a draw. But now I've heard that you're fourth in the table and up there already. I think I'd go for a Lincoln win, maybe 2 or 3-0, something like that. But a score draw would be nice, or 1 or even a 0-0 would take at this point. To be honest, just a positive result would be good for us. But yeah, I think Lincoln will win it by a couple of goals.
Well, fingers crossed. We need to get confidence back up. So it might be the right time
Yeah,
to play you guys. But thanks, Matt,
definitely.
for coming on the preview pod. It's massively appreciated. Where can Lincoln City supporters find more of your content?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube on Cobbler's Vlogs, so just COBBLERS and then just vlogs. Cobbler's Vlogs. I write for a site called Vavel as well. Kind of do like reports and previews on there. So if you just head over to our Cobbler's Vlogs Twitter as well, just search that, you'll just see everything on there. So yeah, that's where you'll find us.
Well, thank you for coming on, Matt. It's massively appreciated. All the best on Saturday. Thank you everybody else for watching, and we'll see you for the next preview next week.